before we get into what went wrong for Carlton, let's go into what went right for Port Adelaide. And 3 things went really well. And the first one that we're going to focus on here is their ball movement. And when I'm speaking about ball movement, I'm talking about their ability to control the game, control the tempo through uncontested marks. Let's go. So Port Adelaide have the ball deep in their defensive 50, but their ability to move the ball against Carlton using uncontested marks, and that comes from their ability to create these open lanes that they can use. The first one comes from Horne-Francis leading into the middle of the ground here, and then it's a little quick kick, and then his follow-up run here forces the 2-on-1 switch straight through the middle of the ground. Bergman gets over the back of Paddy Cripps here, and then it's just a run and gun long kick into your forward 50, and you get a forward 50 stoppage. You've gone from deep in your defensive 50 to a forward 50 stoppage just like that. And not a single Carlton player got near to touching the football. That was completely uncontested. That's 2 minutes into the game, and that was just a sign of things to come. Next example, just a couple minutes later, Port Adelaide free kick in the middle of the ground. And so many times we see teams bomb the ball into the 50 from that position, and especially from this position right here. And the reason why you don't want a person in this position doing it is because you want your halfback to be able to push up the ground and create the wall. So what does Farrell do here? He actually takes this kick into the middle of the ground. This doesn't actually change the style of entry that you're going to get, but what it does do is it allows your halfback, in this case Farrell, to actually set up in a position that's actually dangerous for Port Adelaide. So when they do kick this long ball in, now Farrell's in a really good defensive position because he wasn't the one kicking inside forward 50 long. So the ball goes in, you get a good contest at ground level, you put some pressure on, and look who gets the football because he's in a great position now. He takes his mark, he goes back. That is a beautiful kick for goal. They kick a snag. That comes from Port Adelaide's patience with ball in hand and their willingness to chip the ball around so they can set up their defensive wall in the forward half of the ground so they can create repeat entries over and over again. And mind you, these are all in the first 10 minutes of the game, and I could show 35 examples of Port Adelaide's ball movement. But we have so much stuff to get through, and if I showed every single example, this video would be 45 minutes long. So let's just watch this last one of the ball movement. Remember, this is in the first 10 minutes of the game. So bang, kick out a fullback to an uncontested mark. Now Carlton, all you have to do here is force them to take a contested kick, force them into a contested situation. But Port Adelaide's patience with ball in hand and their ability to actually spread the ground, they made Carlton defend every single blade of grass. And this is just another perfect example. Look, he could have hit Bergman right here. Instead, we go out to another open man, and then there's another open man, and then there's another open man, and over again. Patience with the football to not just kick up the line over and over again, and then their ability to actually lead into pockets of space that are useful. So now you get a genuine mismatch with Williams on Vicentini right here. He goes back and has a shot on goal. That's the second time in the first 10 minutes of the game that Port Adelaide have moved the ball from deep in their defensive 50 to inside their forward 50 without getting touched, without Carlton forcing them into any sort of contested situation. That is a genuine coach's nightmare for Michael Voss there and the Carlton boys, but Port Adelaide's patience and Port Adelaide's willingness to actually hit the leads and make the leads into those little pockets of space over and over again, chip their way through the Carlton defence, and now you get genuine looks inside your forward 50. And they did it all night. So Port Adelaide ball movement, great. So obviously Port Adelaide's ball movement last night was great, but this was the genuine highlight. This is what separated Carlton from Port Adelaide in just such a huge way. It was so stark, and that is just the speed on the outside. I want you to focus on Drew versus Cerra and then both versus Hewitt right here, and look at how quickly they create separation. So this is strength from Drew in the middle of the contest, and then 3 steps, bang, he's got enough separation. But look at this from Hewitt to Boak. Hewitt, you have to protect the front of the stoppage because the most dangerous part of the stoppage is the front of the stoppage. And if you're getting beat on the outside by Travis Boak at 48 years old, you know you're struggling. But then it's this. The high ball comes in, we're going to get a contest. Carlton player versus Port Adelaide player, stride for stride, absolutely next to each other. But look at how quickly that separation changes. Bang! 1 to 2 metres of space right there. Because Boyd has been burnt by Jackson, now the poor bloke has to come off Richards to defend the most dangerous man in this contest. Richards gets a handball on the outside, and that just all comes from speed. Speed at the contest and then speed following up through that contest. Carlton get burnt on the backside of that, and you are gone. And the genuine leg speed difference was so noticeable around stoppage, especially around centre clearance when you have a lot of space. Even though Carlton get their hands on the footy first here, watch the closing speed from Horne-Francis, but then the initial speed from all of the Port Adelaide midfielders to spread from this contest. So Butters, bang, he's He creates separation. Now, Rosie creates separation. Now, Pau Pepper creates separation. That is how fast Port Adelaide were able to spread from this contest. And look, he has just all of the time in the world. The Carlton midfielders are just stuck in the middle of the ground, running in mud at this point, running with cement shoes, it looks like. Pau Pepper gets a really easy clearance forward of the football. You get a really good look inside forward 50, a genuine one-on-one for Mitch Georgiades. He goes back, takes the mark, kicks the goal. Game over. So offensively, Port Adelaide completely outclassed Carlton. And they also did it defensively as well. I could go into 35 clips of that exact thing. But again, we're just running out of time and we've got to get into Carlton's issues. So let's get into those right now. So if there's one thing we know about Carlton, it is that they are a straight line football team. The issue with playing straight line footy is that it's extremely easy to defend. And Carlton, they are extremely easy to defend. They really don't challenge you when they have ball in hand ever. This is literally the first play of the game, and DeConey gets a free kick in the centre of the ground. Now, watch all of the Carlton midfielders push forward in this football, and as soon as we go to this wide angle shot right here, why is there not a single Carlton half forward or midfielder leading into this area right here? Because where do you want to be kicking inside forward 50? You want to be kicking inside forward 50, preferably from about here, because it gives you so many options. When you're able to find a mark around here, your defense is able to set up behind you really well. But if you're just bombing in the football from the center of the ground, you are so easy to defend. And one, that's on DeConey for actually settling for that option. But it's also this lack of midfield and half-forward desire to lead into these areas. Like, Williams, why are you not leading here? Cripps, turn around. Because when you kick in balls like this, you're just kicking to contest to contest to contest. You are not challenging the Port Adelaide defense at all. So when you get a turnover here, this is what we call rebound football. This is the easiest way to score in the modern game of football. The issue is you take away all of your ability to score when you play straight line, boring, easy to defend football. So you get the first handball out. Again, the best teams in the league in this situation right here use these runners. They change the angles. They use the forward handball. They use the overlap runners that you have through the middle of the ground to force these Port Adelaide players here to actually defend, to actually come up at the football and pressure and press. When you don't use these players, you don't have any ability to change the angle or, as we see in this case, challenge the Port Adelaide defenders at all, because your target up the line is a fullback. Why are we kicking to him in a one-on-one situation up the middle of the ground? Because you're not challenging his defender. He's just giving away free kicks, and now you've wasted a really good opportunity to get a defensive rebound score. So Kono's got the ball right here on the edge of the boundary line, and he's one of the only Carlton players that looks to use the ball through the middle of the ground. And you know what he does? He does that exact thing. But the reason you take this kick right here into the middle of the ground is so that Haynes can turn and go over here. There's no point for Nick Haynes here to take this kick unless you're going to continue this switch or you're going to go direct to the middle of the goals. And what does Nick Haynes do? Zero look to the middle of the ground, just turn and straight to the boundary line again. Curno's kick to Haynes there doesn't do anything for the team, and now Fogarty's just got to kick long, boring up the line again. That's the exact position that Port Adelaide want you to have the football, because it's really easy to defend. Mind you, we are still in the first quarter of the game. So again, where is the movement to this part of the ground? Where is the movement to actually create an option for Charlie to change the angles here? Because look at what's up the ground here. One, Port Adelaide have an outnumbered, but two, they've only got Mitch McGovern as your tall target down here. There's no Harry Mackay this week. So now when you do kick up the line, you are playing the most easy to defend football in the world. Carlton just refuse to challenge you when they have ball in hand. They refuse to do anything that the defense actually has to think about. Ever. Listen, I hate picking on players, and I really hate picking on players like Lewis Young, because they're just there trying to do their job. But Sam Doherty, you have the ball in the back pocket. Can we please have a Carlton player not lead to the boundary? Can we please have a Carlton player create some space, create an option at least somewhat towards the middle of the ground, please? Because when we're forcing Sam Doherty to kick long up the line to Lewis Young in a one-on-one situation when he's not a natural forward, now he's already got back position. He gives away a free kick straight away. Port Adelaide turn the ball around, instantly take the advantage, and now they're going to go forward and kick a goal. But look at the difference right here. So Jason Horne-Francis has taken the advantage right here. So many times we'd see that ball just go straight long up the line, exactly where it came from. His patience with the football and his desire to look in through the middle of the ground is just rubbing salt in the wounds for Carlton fans, because exactly what Carlton can't do, Port Adelaide just did the exact thing that they can't do. That's turn the ball into the middle of the ground, actually take the game on a little bit, and now you get a really good forward 50 entry. I've got 40 examples of Carlton kicking long, straight, easy to defend up the line, but we have so much to get through. That's not even the worst part of their game from last night. Let's actually have a look at what was really bad. Carlton with ball in hand was not very good. What about what they're doing when they don't have ball in hand? And we know that they don't have the players necessarily with a lot of leg speed, but this right here isn't about leg speed. This is just about effort right here. So I just want you to watch Jason Horne-Francis for this whole entire play. And I want you to watch how many Carlton players he just runs past. All of the Carlton players just refuse to go near him. He's the one in this initial contest right here. So 1, 2, 3 Carlton players are already in front of him. He's still on the floor, by the way. So he's on the ground and there are 3 Carlton players in front of him about 5 meters with the ball in hand, essentially. Look who's the one that comes through the front of this contest right here. Again, bang, so he gets the intercept and the quick handball out. Cripps is standing still. Cerra is asking for a free kick. Sam Doherty's in no man's land, and Cerra just refuses to go with him. And now look who is the one on the outside of that ball. So he has just run past 5 or 6 Carlton players, and not one of them has gone near him. They're standing there waiting for free kicks, or they're in no man's land doing absolutely nothing. And he has run through that whole contest. He's got his hands on the football 3 times already, and he's the one that allows them to go inside forward 50. Now, the kick gets smothered, but they go forward. And as usual, anytime they went forward last night, they kicked a goal because, again, Jesse Motlop is behind his man. That's not leg speed because that wasn't a very quick play out of the middle. That is just genuine effort and desire for the football. And Carlton, they just had none of it. Carlton, what are we doing? So Port Adelaide are kicking the ball out. Look who comes over and puts a little bit of body on Cincotta right here. Dante Vicentini. Now, this is in the half-back flank. This is on the 50. This is on Carlton's 50. This is on the half-back flank line. And I just want you to realise who Dante Vicentini is, because he's the one putting the body pressure here on Cincotta, just getting into him a little bit, showing him a bit of fight. Watch who ends up with this football. Put this in 2 times speed. So Port Adelaide are just moving the football up the field at will. They're running past blokes. They're just getting outside handballs. And look who is inside 50, standing by himself, which means he has ran past every single one of these Carlton players, and not a single one of them has gone, maybe we should stand next to the bloke who's 6'8", standing by himself in the forward 50. Run from half back to 20 metres out from goal, and not a single Carlton player has gone, maybe I should go and stand next to him. What are we doing? And I just need us to understand right here that this isn't about leg speed at all. Carlton not having leg speed is so often used as an excuse for just a lack of effort, a lack of desire here, because this isn't about leg speed. This is about effort, this is about want, this is about desire, and this is a genuine coach killer right here. So Joe Richards has the football right here on the Port Adelaide half-back line. He's 3 metres out from his defensive 50 arc. He doesn't blaze away, he takes the nice and easy option, but look at where he runs. So Jesse Motlop, this is your man. Just stand next to him. Run with him, please run with him. But instead, Jesse Motlop is looking for a handover right here with Fantasia because Richards has just ran straight past him. So look at the point. He's pointing at Fantasia going, hey, you take him, you take him, you take him. I don't care about handovers, all right? If you want to hand over a player, hand over a player. But if you're handing over Joe Richards right here, then that means Liddy's your man, right? Because those are the only 2 players on this side of the field. I'll chalk it up as a miscommunication mistake. Maybe Fantasia was supposed to go with Richards right here. But if he was, and you did a handover, Jesse Motlop, Liddy is now your man. Either Richards beat you over the back and you didn't want to run with him, and now you force Fantasia to run. Or, just wait who gets this football. Liddy, Motlop, this is your man. You created the handover. Jesse, you created the handover. Now that's your man. At the very least, so either your man was Joe Richards and he beat you on the overlap so comfortably, or you did the handover, there was a miscommunication, which means Liddy is now your man, and then he's got 30 metres of separation on you, and now he's the one kicking inside forward 50 right here. That is just desire and effort, and when you mix a lack of desire and a lack of effort with just a complete lack of communication, like we have right here, because for some reason, 3 Carlton tools are going to go up in this contest, which means not a single one of them is going to be able to mark the football because they're all trying to spoil each other. And when you have 3 of your players go up in the air, up in the contest, that probably means that there's Port Adelaide players waiting on the ground. So can we please communicate, guys? Can we please communicate? Because otherwise there's Port Adelaide crummers everywhere, Willie Roller kicks. What are we doing? The more I watch this game, the more frustrated I get. As a lover of watching good games of football, it pains me to watch that. Usually after filming in here, I would go back and do a sit down and talk about the game as a whole and some of the big questions, but I'm exhausted just watching that. There's 400 more clips that I wrote down that I was going to show, but I can't keep watching this. I'm getting frustrated. If you like this sort of stuff, just please subscribe. If you like this sort of breakdown stuff, please stick along. Let me know if you have any other games, players, specific defenses, or whatever you want me to look at. I'm happy to have a look at it for you, but I'm done. Cheers.